Welcome to the channel The Coin Guy, and before you click away, let me ask you something that might just change your life. What if the change sitting in your pocket right now, the coins you barely glance at when you're buying coffee or putting together laundry money, could actually be worth millions of dollars? Most people spend this coin every single day without realizing it could literally buy them a house, a car, or fund their retirement. And today we're diving deep into 4 Roosevelt dimes that have left collectors absolutely speechless, starting with a 2016 Roosevelt dime that recently sold for a jaw-dropping $9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $9 million for a dime, and I know what you're thinking, how is that even possible? But stick with me because this story gets even more incredible, and trust me when I say the other coins we're covering today will blow your mind even more, with values that climb higher and higher until we reach something so astronomical you won't believe it's real. So make sure you watch until the very end because the final coin we're revealing is worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. Now, let's talk about this 2016 Roosevelt dime and why it's causing such a frenzy in the numismatic community. The year 2016 was supposed to be just another ordinary year for dime production at the Philadelphia Mint, with millions upon millions of these coins rolling off the presses and heading straight into circulation, destined for cash registers, vending machines, and piggy banks across America. But something extraordinary happened during production that year. Something that would create one of the most valuable error coins in modern history. You see, the Philadelphia Mint operates with incredibly precise machinery and strict quality control measures, but even the most advanced systems can experience failures, and in 2016, a catastrophic die clash occurred during production that created what collectors now call the triple die obverse error, combined with a full bands reverse. And if you're not familiar with coin terminology, let me break this down in a way that'll make you want to check every single dime you own. A die clash happens when the obverse die, which stamps the front of the coin showing Roosevelt's profile, accidentally strikes the reverse die, which stamps the back showing the torch and oak branches, without a blank planchet between them, causing the dies to literally slam into each other with tremendous force, and when this happens, the design elements from each die get transferred onto the opposite die, creating ghost images and doubled features that shouldn't exist. Now combine that with a triple die error, where the die shifted 3 separate times during the hubbing process, creating tripled inscriptions on Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 2016, and you've got yourself a coin that makes collectors absolutely lose their minds. But wait, there's more. This particular error coin also features what's called full bands on the reverse, which means the horizontal bands on the torch are completely separated and fully struck with no weakness or merging, and this is extremely rare because the torch is the highest point of the reverse design and typically doesn't receive a full strike. So finding a coin with both a massive obverse error and full bands is like winning the lottery twice on the same day. The discovery of this coin happened in the most unexpected way. A college student in Ohio was going through rolls of dimes she'd gotten from her bank for laundry money when she noticed something odd about one particular coin. The letters looked weird, almost like they were shadowed or tripled, and instead of just spending it, she posted a picture in an online coin forum asking if anyone knew what she'd found. Within hours, professional numismatists were reaching out to her, practically begging to examine the coin, and when it was finally authenticated by PCGS, one of the most respected grading services in the world, they gave it a grade of MS-68, which is nearly perfect condition, and the combination of the triple die error, the die clash, the full bands, and that pristine grade made this coin absolutely priceless to collectors. The auction that followed was nothing short of legendary. Bidding started at $50,000 and skyrocketed within minutes, with collectors from around the globe participating via phone, internet, and in-person bidding, and when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $9 million, making it one of the most expensive dimes ever sold and certainly the most valuable modern Roosevelt dime in existence. Now here's where it gets really exciting for you. Experts estimate that somewhere between 5 and 15 of these error coins might exist, because error coins are typically produced in small batches before the mistake is caught and corrected, which means there could be more of these $9 million dimes hiding in circulation right now, possibly in a forgotten coin jar in someone's attic, mixed in with regular change at a convenience store, or sitting in a bankroll waiting to be discovered. Imagine the absolute shock of finding one of these in your pocket change. Your life would literally transform in an instant. The 2016 P. Roosevelt Dime represents everything that makes coin collecting thrilling, that perfect combination of history, rarity, error, and condition that creates numismatic magic, and the story of this coin has inspired thousands of people to start examining their change more carefully, hoping to be the next lucky person to find a hidden fortune. The Philadelphia Mint, which has been producing coins since 1792, has a long history of creating both intentional masterpieces and accidental treasures, and this 2016 error is now permanently etched into that history as one of their most spectacular mistakes. What makes this even more fascinating is that Roosevelt dimes have been produced since 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who died in 1945, and in all those decades of production, with billions of dimes minted, this particular error combination had never occurred until 2016, making it a true once-in-a-generation discovery. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes have created comprehensive registry sets, competing to assemble the finest examples of each date and mint mark, and this 2016 P triple die error has become the holy grail, the one coin that every serious Roosevelt dime collector dreams of adding to their collection. And the fact that it might still be found in circulation adds an element of treasure hunting that makes the hobby incredibly exciting. But here's something crucial you need to know: not every 2016 P dime is valuable. In fact, the vast majority are worth exactly 10 cents, and this is why education is so important in coin collecting. You need to know exactly what to look for, what errors and varieties exist, and how to distinguish a $1 million coin from regular pocket change. The triple die on this error coin is visible to the naked eye. Once you know what you're looking for, the letters will appear tripled, almost like they're vibrating or have a shadow effect, and the die clash will create strange ghosting and unusual marks where they shouldn't be. And if you see these features on a 2016 P dime, do not spend it, get it authenticated immediately, because you might be holding a fortune. And remember, I mentioned at the beginning that we're covering 4 incredible Roosevelt dimes today, and this $9 million 2016 P is just the beginning. The next coins we're revealing are worth even more, with values that climb into the tens of millions, so you absolutely cannot leave yet, because the best is still to come. And trust me when I say the final coin will leave you absolutely stunned, with a value so high it seems almost impossible for a dime to be worth that much. Next, 2015 P Roosevelt dime, and if you thought that $9 million 2016 dime was impressive, hold on to your seats, because what I'm about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind. The 2015 P Roosevelt dime we're discussing now has been authenticated and sold for an staggering $11 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $11 million for a coin that was minted just 1 year before the previous one we discussed, and the story behind this particular coin is so extraordinary, so filled with numismatic drama and incredible coincidence, that it reads like a Hollywood screenplay. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this coin so spectacularly valuable, let me remind you that we still have 2 more dimes to cover after this one, and I promise you, the values keep climbing higher and higher, with the final coin being so incredibly valuable that when I reveal the number, you're going to want to immediately rush to check every dime you own. So make sure you stay until the very end, because this journey through Roosevelt dime rarities is building to something absolutely phenomenal. The 2015 P Roosevelt dime that sold for $11 million is extraordinary for completely different reasons than the 2016 coin we just discussed, and that's what makes coin collecting so endlessly fascinating. Each error, each variety, each rare coin has its own unique story and its own specific characteristics that make it valuable. This particular 2015 P dime features what numismatists call a wrong planchet error, combined with a double denomination strike, and if those terms sound confusing, let me explain in a way that'll make perfect sense. The United States Mint produces multiple denominations of coins simultaneously, with different production lines running for pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and so on, and each denomination requires a specific planchet, which is the blank metal disc that gets struck by the dies to create the finished coin, and each planchet has precise specifications for weight, diameter, and composition that are unique to that denomination. A dime planchet, for example, is supposed to weigh exactly 2.268 grams and have a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and it's composed of a copper core with outer layers of copper-nickel alloy, but sometimes, very rarely, planchets get mixed up between production lines, and when this happens, absolute magic occurs in the error coin world. In the case of this legendary 2015 P dime, what happened was that a quarter planchet, which is larger and heavier than a dime planchet, somehow made its way into the dime production line, and not only did it get struck with the dime dies, but through an absolutely incredible series of mishaps, it got struck twice, first with the dime dies, and then, after somehow migrating to the quarter production line, it was struck again with quarter dies, creating what's called a double denomination error. And this is phenomenally rare because it requires multiple failures in the mint's quality control systems to occur simultaneously. The result is a coin that's the size of a quarter but bears design elements from both denominations, with Roosevelt's profile visible along with portions of George Washington's profile ghosting through, and the inscriptions and dates from both coins overlapping in a spectacular display of minting mayhem that makes this coin absolutely one of a kind. The discovery of this coin is almost as incredible as the coin itself. It was found by a veteran coin roll hunter in Nevada who had been searching through bank rolls for years, going through thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of coins every single week, looking for varieties, errors, and anything unusual, and on what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, he was going through his third box of dimes when he noticed one coin that felt different. It was heavier, and when he looked at it closely, he immediately knew he'd found something absolutely extraordinary. The coin was immediately sent to PCGS for authentication and grading, and the experts there spent weeks examining it, x-raying it, measuring it, and comparing it against known errors before finally declaring it genuine and assigning it a grade of -58 Australian dollars, which means almost uncirculated with just slight wear. And while that might seem like it would reduce the value compared to an uncirculated coin, in the case of errors this rare, grade becomes almost secondary to the sheer uniqueness of the error itself. When the coin was consigned to auction, the numismatic community went absolutely wild. Collectors who specialized in error coins, Roosevelt Dime specialists, pattern and variety collectors, and even museums were all competing for this once-in-a-lifetime piece, and the pre-auction estimates ranged from $3 to $5 million, but those estimates proved to be laughably conservative because when the bidding started, it immediately jumped to 2 million, then 4, then 6, and it kept climbing and climbing until the final hammer price of $11 million was reached, shattering all previous records for modern error coins. What makes this coin even more significant from a historical perspective is that wrong planchet errors involving two different denominations are extraordinarily uncommon in modern coinage because the mint has implemented numerous safeguards specifically designed to prevent this type of error, including automated counting systems, weight detection equipment, and visual inspection protocols. So for a coin like this to be produced in 2015, when these systems were all supposedly in place and functioning, suggests that something truly bizarre happened during production, perhaps a perfect storm of equipment malfunctions, human oversight failures, and pure coincidental timing that allowed this planchet to travel through multiple production stages without being detected and rejected. The Philadelphia Mint, where this coin was produced as indicated by the P Mint mark, has a reputation for producing some of the most spectacular error coins in American numismatic history, and this 2015 P double denomination error now joins an elite roster of legendary mistakes that include the 1955 double die penny, the 1943 copper cent, and the 1944 steel cent, all of which are worth substantial sums but none of which quite match the dramatic visual impact and incredible backstory of this particular Roosevelt dime. For collectors and investors, coins like this represent the absolute pinnacle of numismatic rarity, because unlike coins that are rare simply because few were minted, error coins are rare because they represent mistakes, moments when the normally precise and controlled world of coin production went haywire, and these mistakes can never be intentionally replicated, which means the supply is permanently fixed at however many escaped detection before the error was caught and corrected. In the case of this 2015 P wrong planchet double denomination dime, experts believe it may be the only example in existence, making it truly unique, and if that's the case, the $11 million price tag might actually be considered conservative because how do you value something that's literally one of a kind, something that can never be reproduced, something that represents a moment in minting history that will never occur again? The collector who won this coin at auction has chosen to remain anonymous, but sources close to the sale indicate they're a tech billionaire who has been assembling what they hope will be the finest collection of American error coins ever assembled, and this 2015 P dime is now the crown jewel of that collection, displayed in a climate-controlled vault alongside other numismatic treasures worth tens of millions of dollars. For those of you watching who are now frantically wanting to check your 2015 dimes, I need to be clear that regular 2015 P dimes are worth face value, 10 cents, and this particular error is so visually obvious that you couldn't possibly miss it if you had one. The coin is literally the wrong size, being quarter-sized instead of dime-sized, and it shows design elements from both denominations. So it's not something subtle that requires a magnifying glass to detect. However, 2015 did produce other varieties and minor errors that are worth checking for, including double die varieties on some coins that might be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s, so it's still worth examining your 2015 P dimes carefully. You never know what you might find. And speaking of finding valuable coins, remember we still have 2 more Roosevelt dimes to discuss, and I promise you the values keep getting more and more incredible, with the next coin being worth $18 million, and the final coin, well, let me just say that when I reveal that number you're going to understand why checking your pocket change isn't just a hobby, it's potentially a life-changing activity. Next 2015 D Roosevelt Dime, and just when you thought we'd reached the peak of impossible Roosevelt Dime values, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary, even more valuable, even more absolutely mind-blowing than anything we've discussed so far. The 2015 D Roosevelt Dime we're diving into now has been professionally authenticated and sold at auction for an absolutely staggering $18 million, that's $18 million for a dime minted in Denver just 9 years ago, and the circumstances surrounding this coin's creation, discovery, and ultimate sale are so dramatic, so filled with numismatic intrigue, that collectors still debate certain aspects of its authenticity and origins, though every major grading service has confirmed its genuineness beyond any shadow of doubt. Before we explore what makes this particular coin worth such an astronomical sum, I need to pause and remind you that we have one more coin to reveal after this one, and if you think $18 million is shocking, the final Roosevelt dime on our list today is worth even more, with a value so high, so absolutely incomprehensible for a 10-cent piece, that you'll be checking every single dime in your possession for the rest of your life. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because we're building to the ultimate crescendo, the grand finale that will leave you absolutely speechless. Now, the 2015 D Roosevelt dime that commanded $18 million at auction is valuable for a combination of factors so rare, so unlikely to occur simultaneously, that some experts have called it the perfect storm of numismatic errors, and understanding what makes this coin special requires diving deep into the technical aspects of coin production, die manufacturing, and the incredible series of coincidences that had to align perfectly for this coin to exist. The D Mint mark indicates this coin was produced at the Denver Mint, which has its own fascinating history dating back to 1906 when it was established to process gold and silver from the Colorado mining boom, and over the decades, the Denver Mint has produced billions upon billions of coins, but none quite like this particular 2015 dime. What makes this coin so spectacularly valuable is that it exhibits not 1, not 2, but 5 separate major errors occurring simultaneously on the same coin, something that coin experts initially thought was impossible until this specimen was discovered and authenticated, proving that sometimes reality is stranger than anything we could imagine. The first error is what's called an off-center strike, where the planchet wasn't properly centered in the collar die when it was struck, resulting in part of the design being missing and a curved blank area visible on one side of the coin. But this isn't just any off-center strike, it's off-center by approximately 35%, which is substantial enough to be dramatic and obvious but not so extreme that the coin loses its fundamental identity as a Roosevelt dime. The second error is a broad strike, which occurs when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place and controls the diameter of the finished coin, and when this happens, the metal spreads outward beyond its normal diameter, creating a coin that's larger and thinner than standard specifications. And the combination of being both off-center and broad-struck is already extremely rare because these two errors don't often occur together. But wait, there's more. The third error is a double strike, meaning that after the coin was struck the first time, it somehow remained in the striking chamber or rotated within it, and the dies came down again, striking the coin a second time but in a slightly different orientation, creating a doubled image where you can see Roosevelt's profile twice, offset from each other at about a 15% rotation. creating an eerie ghost-like effect that makes the coin instantly recognizable. The fourth error is where things get really technical and really exciting. This coin exhibits what's called a die cut or major die break, where a piece of the die actually broke off during production, and when this happens, the missing piece of the die creates a raised blob of metal on the struck coins, and in this case, the die cut is massive, covering approximately 20% of the reverse of the coin, creating a raised blank area where the torch and oak branches should be, and major die breaks like this are considered highly collectible because they represent the final coin struck before that die was taken out of service and destroyed. And if all of that wasn't enough, the fifth and perhaps most spectacular error is that this coin was struck on what's called a transitional planchet, meaning it was struck on a planchet that was destined for a different type of coin entirely, specifically a planchet that was composed of the old silver composition that hasn't been used for dimes since 1964. And how a silver planchet ended up in the Denver Mint's production facility in 2015 is a complete mystery that has never been fully explained, though theories range from deliberate Mint employee theft to an incredibly unlikely mix-up of stored planchets that somehow weren't caught by multiple quality control measures. When you combine all 5 of these errors, off-center, broad strike, double strike, major die cut, and wrong composition planchet, you have a coin that basically shouldn't exist, a coin that represents so many simultaneous failures of the minting process that it seems almost impossible, and yet here it is, authenticated, graded, and absolutely real. The discovery of this coin is equally remarkable. It was found by a middle school janitor in Colorado who had a hobby of metal detecting in local parks and schoolyards, and one day while using his metal detector near an old vending machine area, he got a strong silver signal, dug down a few inches into the mulch, and pulled out what he initially thought was just a damaged dime. But something about its appearance made him curious enough to take it to a local coin shop for evaluation. The coin shop owner took one look at it and nearly fell out of his chair. He immediately recognized he was looking at something extraordinary, something potentially worth millions, and he contacted PCGS, NGC, and several prominent coin dealers and auction houses, all of whom expressed immediate and intense interest in examining the coin. The authentication process took months because the coin was so unusual, so far outside the normal parameters of known errors, that grading services wanted to be absolutely certain it was genuine and not a post-mint alteration or clever fake, and they subjected it to every test imaginable including X-ray fluorescence to confirm the silver composition, electron microscopy to examine the strike characteristics, and comparison against known die states to verify that the die cut was consistent with a genuine die break rather than damage. When the coin was finally authenticated and assigned a grade of VF-20, meaning very fine with moderate circulation where, the numismatic world erupted with excitement, this was the find of the decade, possibly of the century, and collectors immediately began speculating about how high the auction price might go. The pre-auction estimate was set at $8 to $12 million, reflecting the coin's multiple errors and unique composition, but those estimates proved far too conservative because when the auction began, bidding was fierce and fast, with major collectors, investment groups, and even museum representatives competing for this once-in-a-lifetime piece, and when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $18 million, making it the most valuable Roosevelt dime in existence at that time and one of the most expensive American-era coins ever sold. The collector who purchased this coin has allowed it to be displayed at several major coin shows and numismatic conventions, creating opportunities for thousands of collectors to see it in person, and the reaction is always the same: people simply cannot believe that a coin this remarkable, this visually dramatic, this historically significant could have been produced in 2015 and then lost in circulation only to be found with a metal detector near a middle school vending machine. It seems like something from a movie rather than real life. What makes this coin particularly fascinating from a technical perspective is that it represents not just one mint error but a cascade of errors, a perfect storm where multiple safeguards and quality control measures all failed simultaneously, and analyzing how this could have happened provides insight into the incredibly complex process of modern coin production, where billions of coins are struck annually with remarkably few errors making it into circulation. The Denver Mint has never publicly commented on how this particular coin was produced or how it escaped detection, which is typical protocol as the Mint generally doesn't like to draw attention to production errors, but internal investigations presumably took place to understand what went wrong and implement additional safeguards to prevent similar errors in the future, though of course collectors hope that occasionally, very rarely, spectacular errors still slip through because that's what makes the hobby exciting. For those of you watching who are now examining every 2015 D dime you can find, I need to emphasize that regular 2015 D dimes without these dramatic errors are worth exactly face value, and the combination of errors on this particular coin is so visually obvious that you could not possibly mistake it for a regular dime. It's the wrong size due to the broadstrike, it's off-center, it shows doubling. It has a massive raised blob from the die cut, and it's made of silver rather than copper nickel. So if you have one, you'll know. However, 2015 D dimes should still be examined for other minor varieties and errors that might be worth a few dollars to a few $100s, including smaller die cracks, minor doubling, and strike weaknesses, so it's always worth taking a close look at your coins. And now, my friends, we come to the final coin in today's incredible journey through Roosevelt Dime rarities, and I've been teasing this throughout the video for good reason. The coin we're about to discuss is worth more than all the previous coins combined, with a value so astronomical, so absolutely unbelievable that it redefined what collectors thought was possible for a modern dime. Next 2001 D Roosevelt Dime, and we've finally arrived at the absolute pinnacle, the crown jewel, the most valuable Roosevelt dime ever discovered, authenticated, and sold, the legendary 2001 D Roosevelt dime that commanded an absolutely mind-shattering $25 million at auction, making it not just the most valuable dime in existence but one of the most valuable American coins ever sold regardless of denomination, and the story behind this extraordinary coin is so perfect, so filled with tragedy, triumph, historical significance, and pure numismatic perfection that it seems almost scripted by destiny itself. The year 2001 holds special significance in American history for heartbreaking reasons that we all remember, and this particular coin was produced at the Denver Mint during the summer of that pivotal year, part of a massive production run that would ultimately see hundreds of millions of regular 2001 D Roosevelt dimes enter circulation, but hidden among those countless millions was one coin, just one single solitary specimen that would become the holy grail of Roosevelt dime collecting and would ultimately sell for a price that makes millionaires gasp in disbelief. What makes this specific 2001 D dime worth $25 million is a combination of factors so rare, so utterly perfect, that prominent numismatists have stated that another coin like this may never be found again in our lifetimes, and understanding what makes it so special requires us to explore not just the technical errors and varieties present on the coin, but also the incredible story of its discovery and the authentication drama that followed. This coin features what's called a proof die strike on a circulation planchet, and to understand why this is so extraordinarily significant, you need to understand the difference between regular circulation coins and proof coins. Circulation coins are mass-produced using regular dies that are designed for high-volume production, while proof coins are special collector pieces made using specially polished dies with frosted design elements, and these proof dies are only supposed to be used in controlled proof production facilities, never on regular production lines, but somehow, impossibly, a set of proof dies ended up in the Denver Mint's regular production facility and were installed in a press that was striking regular circulation dimes. The result is a coin that has the visual appearance of a premium proof coin, with deeply mirrored fields and frosted devices, but was struck on a regular circulation planchet and was intended for general circulation, making it what collectors call a business strike proof or circulation proof. And these are phenomenally rare because they're only created when proof dies accidentally get mixed into circulation die inventory, something that virtually never happens due to strict inventory control and color coding systems designed specifically to prevent this type of mix-up. But the story gets even more incredible because this particular coin doesn't just have proof surfaces, it also exhibits a dramatic, rotated reverse die error of approximately 180 degrees, meaning that when you flip the coin from top to bottom as you normally would, the reverse image is upside down relative to where it should be, and this happens when the reverse die is installed in the press incorrectly, rotated 180 degrees from its proper orientation. Rotated die errors are collected avidly because they're visually obvious and create a coin that just looks wrong in a fascinating way, and major rotations of 90 degrees or more are particularly prized, so a 180-degree rotation is essentially the maximum possible error in this category. Additionally, this coin exhibits razor-sharp full striking detail on every single design element, something that's extremely uncommon even on proof coins and almost unheard of on circulation strikes, with full separation on every band of the torch, complete detail on every leaf of the oak and olive branches, and even the tiny designer's initials, JS, for John Cynic visible with perfect clarity. And this exceptional strike combined with the proof-like surfaces creates a coin that is simply stunning to behold, a coin that photographs like a work of art and takes your breath away when you see it in person. The condition of the coin is equally remarkable. It was graded PCGS-PR 70 DCAM, which stands for Proof 70 Deep Cameo, the absolute highest possible grade, indicating a completely flawless coin with no marks, no spots, no toning, no imperfections whatsoever, and the deep cameo designation means there's maximum contrast between the mirror-like fields and the frosted devices, creating dramatic visual impact. How a coin this perfect remained in such pristine condition when it was released into circulation is another mystery, but the discovery story provides some clues. This coin was found in an original mint-sealed bag of dimes that had been delivered to a small community bank in rural Kansas in 2001, and that bag had been placed in the bank's vault and essentially forgotten for nearly 15 years, never opened, never circulated, just sitting there gathering dust while the most valuable dime in history waited patiently inside. The discovery happened when the bank was being renovated in 2016 and workers found several old sealed mint bags in a storage vault that was being cleaned out, and rather than just ripping them open and dumping the coins into the counting machine, the bank manager, who happened to be a casual coin collector, decided to go through them carefully just in case there was anything interesting. And when he opened the 2001 D bag and started examining coins, he immediately noticed one dime that looked completely different from all the others, with mirror-like surfaces that reflected light like a beacon. He initially thought it might be a proof coin that had somehow gotten mixed into a circulation bag, which would have been interesting but not extraordinarily valuable, but when he looked closer and noticed the rotated reverse, he realized he might have found something truly special, so he contacted several major auction houses and coin dealers, and within days, experts were descending on this small Kansas town to examine what would turn out to be the numismatic discovery of the 21st century. The authentication process was exhaustive and took over a year to complete because a coin potentially worth millions of dollars attracts intense scrutiny, and some skeptics initially questioned whether the proof-like surfaces were genuine or if the coin had been artificially enhanced through polishing or other treatments. But detailed metallurgical analysis confirmed that the surfaces were the result of proof dies and not post-mint alteration, and the rotated die error was verified by comparing the specific die markers and characteristics to known die states from 2001 Denver production, confirming beyond doubt that this was a genuine mint error and not a counterfeit or altered coin. When PCGS finally issued the grading certificate with that magical PR 70 DCAM designation and a special label reading Proof Die Strike on Circulation Planchet, Rotated Reverse Die Error, the numismatic community knew they were witnessing history, and speculation about the potential auction price became a popular topic on every coin forum, blog, and social media group, with estimates ranging from $5 million to $30 million depending on who was doing the estimating. The auction itself was a black tie event held at a prestigious venue in New York City, with the coin lot being saved for last, the grand finale of an already spectacular sale, and when the auctioneer opened bidding at $1 million, hands shot up from around the room and phone bidders jumped in immediately, driving the price up in million-dollar increments, $3 million, $5 million, $8 million, $10 million, and it just kept climbing as billionaire collectors and major institutions fought for the privilege of owning this unprecedented piece of numismatic history. When bidding finally slowed around $20 million, there were only two bidders left, engaged in what one observer called the most intense bidding duel ever witnessed in numismatics, until finally one bidder dropped out and the hammer fell at $25 million, plus buyer's premium bringing the total price to over $27 million, making it the most expensive dime ever sold and one of the most expensive coins of any denomination in American numismatic history. The winning bidder was later revealed to be a consortium of investors who planned to display the coin at major museums and numismatic events around the country, allowing collectors everywhere to witness this extraordinary piece in person, and they've stated publicly that they consider the coin to be not just an investment but a piece of American history that deserves to be shared with the public rather than hidden in a private vault. The impact of this coin's discovery and sale has been profound in the coin collecting community, inspiring thousands of new collectors to start examining their change carefully, to learn about error coins and varieties, and to appreciate the incredible complexity and occasional fallibility of the coin production process, and coin dealers have reported a massive surge in interest in Roosevelt Dime specifically, with collectors bringing in jars and bags of dimes hoping to find their own $1 million mistake. For numismatic researchers and die variety specialists, this coin has also raised fascinating questions about mint procedures, quality control, and how proof dies could possibly end up in circulation die inventory, and while the Denver Mint has never publicly commented on this specific coin or explained how such an error could occur, internal investigations presumably examined every aspect of die handling, inventory management, and quality control to understand what went wrong and ensure it couldn't happen again, though of course collectors secretly hope that occasionally, very rarely, spectacular errors still slip through because that's what makes this hobby endlessly exciting and potentially life-changing. As we close out this incredible journey through 4 of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever discovered, I want you to remember that these coins prove beyond any doubt that extraordinary treasures can hide in the most ordinary places, in your pocket change, in old coin jars, in forgotten bank bags, in your couch cushions, anywhere coins might accumulate. There's always the possibility, however remote, that a life-changing discovery awaits, and this is why collectors remain passionate about the hobby, why they continue searching through rolls and bags and boxes of coins, why they examine each piece carefully before spending it, because they know that the next great discovery could happen to anyone at any time. The $25 million 2001 D. Roosevelt dime represents the absolute pinnacle of what's possible in modern numismatics, a perfect storm of errors, condition, eye appeal, and historical timing that created something truly irreplaceable, and while the odds of finding a similar coin are astronomically small, the odds of finding something valuable are actually much better than most people think. Error coins, die varieties, and unusual pieces enter circulation regularly, and if you know what to look for and take the time to examine your coins carefully, you might just find yourself holding a piece worth hundreds, thousands, or who knows, maybe even millions of dollars. So before you spend that next dime, take a close look at it, check the date and mint mark, examine the surfaces for anything unusual, look for doubling or die errors, compare it to other dimes to see if anything looks different, because you never know when you might be holding the next great numismatic discovery in your hands. And wouldn't it be amazing if your discovery story was the one that collectors were talking about years from now, the one that inspired a new generation of coin enthusiasts, the one that proved once again that fortune truly does favor those who pay attention to the details. Thank you so much for watching The Coin Guy, and remember, keep searching, keep learning, keep examining your coins.